நன்றே பயனும் நடுநிலைதான் ஆக்கத்தை அன்றே உடைய விளக்கம். நடுநிலைமை தவறுவதால் ஏற்படக்கூடிய பயன் நன்மையை தருவதாக இருந்தாலும் அந்த பயனை கைவிட்டு நடுநிலைமை தான் கடைபிடிக்க வேண்டும். திருக்குறள் 113. Translation. The only good it seems to give a gain by wrong occurred not even one day return. Actually, I am missing my table. The uniform civil code debate. I request to Prime Minister or colleague introduce the debate. First of all, members should be follow the simple code of government. For the Honorable Speaker, Prime Minister, Honorable. Please.
Good afternoon, respected. Good afternoon, Honorable Speaker of the Parliament and respected opposition members and members of the ruling government. Today we have a very important topic of debate about having uniform civil code in our country, and this debate has been going on for a very long time, and it concerns our society as it involves each member of the society.
Now I request the opposition or any other members who want to ask any question or clarification. You have any doubt, you can ask question. Now I am open the floor.
Good afternoon, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members of the Parliament. The Uniform Civil Code was brought about. I'll give you a bit of an introduction before I go into my question. The Uniform Civil Code, the whole debate started back during the British, when the British were ruling India, and they allowed the religions and their personal laws to take over. But right now, the discussion that we're going to have is, should we bring in Uniform Civil Code or not? In our opinion, we think it is risky at the moment to launch the Uniform Civil Code, simply because India right now in a very vulnerable situation. We have religious conflicts brewing always. We've had issues regarding the same, and right now, if the Uniform Civil Code does come into force, it would be stripping people of their identity. And as we all know, and we are Indians, religion is our identity. Religion gives us faith, it gives us thinking, it is our values. Now, if we're going to strip the Indians of their religion and tell them that their personal laws don't matter, it's going to create a social unrest which we might not be able to curb. And it's not just about stripping away the identity. Under Article 15 of the under Article 25 of the Constitution, which is a fundamental right, the state shall treat all religions and religious groups equally with equal respect without any manner of interfering with the individual right of religion, faith, and worship. Now, when the article was written back and drafted back there in the 1950s, I'm pretty sure it was obvious that if you're giving the authority, the freedom of religion, then personal law does come into play. Now, if suddenly you're going to tell them that that law doesn't matter, the government will have a legal notice on their doorstep. So one is going to be social unrest. Second, there's going to be a huge legal conflict as well. Another point I would like to make is that India is not our society is not extremely liberal like that of America or the Britain. And Uniform Civil Code works in those countries because there's an amount of unity, and we are extremely diverse, and each community, each religion has their own set of values, own set of laws, and if we suddenly barge in and tell them it doesn't matter, it is going to cause a lot of distress. And also, one more fact is, you're trying to put in Western thinking into the minds of the Indian society. I do not want to seem offensive, but we are a little backward when it comes to thinking. We're talking about Khap Panchayats and Sharia law, and Khap Panchayats give out judgment based on the religious values. Sharia, Muslims give Islam, the Sharia code gives out their own judgments based on their Sharia law. So right now, it's a little vulnerable, and to put in Western thinking into their head will cause chaos among even the government. That's one more point I'd like to make. And also, like I said, the Dowry Act, or we're trying to conquer the social evils, and there's the Dowry Act, and then there's the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act of 2006. I think what all of us need to do is focus on those internal, amending those internal acts itself, and focus on those instead of coming in together and trying to completely relieve, stripping them of their own personal law. I think it right now is a little unfair, and it's not a very good time. So I'd like the government to please think about it, and if my opposition has any questions, they'd like to ask.
Honorable Speaker, good afternoon to you, and honorable members of the Parliament, a very good afternoon. Thank you, honorable opposition leader, for bringing about the constitution phrase, except she missed a very valid point. I'm going to read Article 25 for you again. It says freedom of conscience and freedom of profession, practice and propagation of religion. First point, subject to public order, morality and health, to the other provisions of this point. So that's the core of what we will discuss today, that whether it is moral for us to follow a communal law or a community's law, Sharia law, when particularly it is against women empowerment and against equality of all gender. So the core of today's context should not be based on religion, but it should be based on equality, which, as part, we are a diverse group of people, it is acceptable, but at the same time we have to understand that in the 21st century, when we have already accepted a lot from the West, for example, this modern democracy, the idea of secularism, we cannot selectively choose on how we must go about having our laws. When we have embraced criminal law, which is based on the Western blueprint, we must be willing to accept civil law too, which is uniform. Now, we are not saying that we have to blindly follow everything the West hands over, but in this case, we have analyzed, and it's been a very long time that this debate has been dragging on. And independently, every woman here, would you like to have a regressive, repressive law? I don't think so. So the debate should move away from religious fundamentalism and saying that this law will somehow benefit the fundamentalists. And you have to see now whether this law has real benefits accruing for people who mean well, particularly for women. On that line of thought, let's have the debate. Thank you.
My question to the government is, I'm going to give you an example. So in Italy, the Muslim population is currently growing, and they have the Uniform Civil Code. But unfortunately, the Sharia law of Islam, it still works there, it's in practice. It might not be in the eyes of the government or the public, but it happens under the belt. So if we do implement the Uniform Civil Code, how do we tackle this women issue that you have brought up? So that's the women cry. It's degrading to women because they can't go to the state and they cannot, and the Sharia law will not help them out either. So how do we tackle this at a larger level?
Request from members, please follow the simple code of conduct, because when you ask question or you respond to me on some questions, you should stand and ask, because superior, someone, Prime Minister and Honorable Minister, opposition also. Okay, please stand and ask question or respond to question.
First of all, let's talk about implementing Uniform Civil Code. Before we move is acceptable in the current scenario, etc. And whatever does not hold value, whatever does not hold its merit in terms of this human value will be, consensually struck out, and others which can stand against these human values will be acceptable as Uniform Civil Code. I guess this is the most sensible thing that can be done in the current circumstances. I wish the opposition also participates in codification of this law. Thank you.
I would like to explain a small example for honorable members of the opposition and honorable speaker. Say I belong to a community A or religion A, and my friend belongs to community B, and we are inheriting our ancestral property, and person belonging to religion B does not get the same benefits that I enjoy because I belong to a separate religion. In what way is that fair? In what way that is holding up human rights? Where is the human value and that is very discriminatory of every human being to be identified by religion and given preferences and according to their religion. And that's the example which I wanted to quote. Also, by maintaining the current status of our society, where every religion is allowed to have their own laws, we need to note that not every religion is following their own law. There are certain religions which is following their own law, and there are, as one of the members of the opposition said, Sikhs and Buddhists and Jains, they are blanketed under Hindu law, and they are not able to practice their own law. So we have a lot of issues like this, contentious issues like this, which has to be addressed. The only solution for this is Uniform Civil Code. There is no other way to address this. And the scale of measurement as to what kind of laws we are going to accommodate under the Uniform Civil Law will be, as one of our members of the government said, that it will be based on Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And with the current my respectable members of the Parliament, our country has lost many lives, many families have been destroyed, many people have lost their loved ones in the name of religion. There have been several riots, there have been violence. When are we going to put an end to all this? Unless we are going to make a constitutional change and respect every human being based on humanity and not based on religion, when is this going to end? Are we going to continue talking about religion and go backward? When are we going to progress as human beings? Thank you.
Ambulance.
Opposition members.
Speaker and members of the Parliament. Government gave friends who gave a big speech on that. I accepted and I want to ask them what we do to the reservation policy regarding the uniforms will go from.
We have to note that the Uniform Civil Code is being discussed only for issues relating to family laws, inheritance, marriage, and it's not being discussed on reservations. So the status quo of reservation will remain as it is. And there will be one day when all people are equal, and that day we won't have any reservation.
And the reservation policy is brought into account itself to bring the society, on an equilibrium, position. That's how the laid back and the backward people can come in front and be on par with the powerful people. So the reservation is actually in favor of Uniform Civil Code. That's not something.
Honorable Speaker and members of Parliament, we are very efficient if you implement the civil code, Uniform Civil Code. We are very efficient, but before that, you have to eradicate the caste system. So how can you eradicate the caste system? So caste system is one of the most obstacle to have this one new civil code. So how can you eradicate? As being a present ruling government, how can you eradicate caste system?
But why should the caste system be eradicated?
That is because ruling government said that new civil code is mainly for marriage and custom things. So as far as concerned these questions, so caste system is very important, and we have to think about eradicate. So what is your state?
Right now we are talking about civil code, and the caste system thing will be for another discussion.
Honorable Speaker, you said that caste system will have another session. How can you jump off without crossing one step? How can you jump without crossing one step? If you want to jump second step,
First of all, I just wanted to know from you, why do you even want to eradicate the caste system? I mean, what's the problem? That's also a part of the society. How is it obstructing your...
Honorable
it was not
Speaker
clear.
And members of Parliament, because the ruling government said that, if I'm not mistaken, you have mentioned about intercaste marriage. So, inside, if you really want to have healthy this kind of marriage system, you have to create the caste system. If there is no caste system, how there is no intercaste system, so automatically it becomes
Thank you for that question, Honorable Member. We don't, in Indian society, we cannot look for that one magic bullet to, wipe out existing caste system or existing inequalities. If only we could find that one magic bullet, I guess we would have used it very long time ago. So it is a process. It is a process of evolution. We are moving toward a society which is equitable. And the first step in the process would be, we have had several steps, and in this debate, the first step would be Uniform Civil Code. And from there, we would bridge the gap about what are all the things that needs to be discussed, will be done over a period of time. And I understand that a casteless society is what we all want to progress toward. However, we do not have an answer for how it can be implemented right away. I am certain that none of the honorable members here would have an answer to that question. Thank you.
And the problem is not...
Honorable Speaker and members of Parliament, please, if ruling government will not willing to eradicate the caste system, so for opposition side, we will not accept today's parliament, today's this one ruling government proposal, because for our side, the caste system is one of the most obstacle. Actually, we are not going to oppose this uniform civil code, but to have this uniform civil code, we must eradicate the caste system. So if ruling party is not willing to do that things, so I think we will not have such kind of this debate. So that's why, like, Honorable Speaker, please, you have to suspend this debate.
Okay, I have 2 points. Honorable Speaker, there is not a debate about caste system, and we are open to have a separate debate about it, but still I am willing to end this debate with by answering him. See, Uniform Civil Code is an entirely different issue. It has things to do with family laws and reservation, and caste system is necessary for reservation. And it is very true that there are certain backward classes in our country which have been denied basic rights. So we need reservation for that. Till the people who have been oppressed gain their equal rights to other people and there's equality in the society, we need the reservation. We need reservation, and hence we need the caste system. We can't destroy the caste system right away.
Honorable Speaker and members, government is still not giving a clear answer. First they want to keep the religion debate another day. Now they want to keep a caste system. What our member is saying that, he's saying that caste system and religious law, family laws are interconnected with each other, and he's asking a solution as how we are going to do it. And he's saying if there is no caste, then only this uniform civil code will be perfectly true. That is what our member is saying, but there is no proper answer from the
Thank you for the question, and now let us make it very clear that any amount of, you are identifying only divisive ways to prolong the issue. At first it was the question of religious identity, and then safeguarding old archaic values which now have no sense. And then the second thing, another honorable member discussed about Hindus and Sikhs being under the cover of Hindu, and first we have Jains and Sikhs, and first to address that issue. Now the question, when they're losing the debate, it is about caste system. It has jumped gun one by one, and now we want to make it clear that we have already pronounced the ways and outlined the ways in which we are going to tackle the issues that might crop up in the implementation of Uniform Civil Code. As already discussed, we would have a complete understanding of what every religion has with respect to their domestic inheritance and other domestic laws, and we would take that, and the only thing that it would be valued against or weighed against would be laws that pertain to humanity and a certain human rights value that is accepted overall, accepted throughout the world. And if that doesn't stand ground to that, that be struck off on mutual consensus. When I say mutual consensus, of course there's going to be people who represent the community, probably Muslim law board, there will be Hindu pundits, and this is the kind of discussion that we would have in future towards implementing such laws, and it is not going to be achievable if we are going to have the tone of divisive politics. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, just to add what my colleagues just finished, Mr. Speaker, we all heard the opposition. The former speaker in the opposition side and another former speaker on the opposition side. Both of them I counted personally. The current one he used 3 times saying that he's accepting uniform civil code. Also, the another speaker also in the opposition also, same thing, he said that he's accepting it. Now, Mr. Speaker, please, they're just speculating, as my former speaker, they're just finding a small thing and again shifting to another, going outside the top. Please, Mr. Speaker, using your power. Thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, we no need to go detail. You said and he said. So we have to judge. So if I really said that, if I really said about that, you can go this one video and check. This is we are like kind of guys now. So how can you how can you say like that? No, because like kind of guys now. And if you say something else, you can go and check. I said no. What I said is that if you really want, I said I appreciate this civil code. I said I appreciate, but it's not full stop, comma, but I will not accept unless you are eradicate the class.
Okay. Now, finally, last.
Let me remind you that religion and caste is also the same question. Let me remind you who brought the caste system. It was written in religious scripts that caste system is like this. People are classified. When you say that we are jumping from one discussion to another one, we're talking about the same issue. We're asking you how you will implement this. You're not solving any issues. You are doing something. We are believing that Uniform Civil Code is a necessary thing, but not now. We're believing that progressive things should happen. Let me go back to history. There is a Hindu civil code from Hindu marriage and everything. Let me ask you how it evolved. Women weren't given equal rights until 2011. Even today, there's no equal rights. Women were forced to fight for their rights. If you are saying today it's you are going with the Hindu law as the actual principle, the higher one, we are going to teach other people, bringing a new uniform civil code to bring other communities such as religions or other tribes or etc. You said previously about the Northeast people. Let me tell you that everything is the same discussion. We are not trying to divide or bring any division in the discussion. We are seeking answers. If you can't answer these questions, basic question, how you are going to deal with this, then we can't support you.
Rajkumar, please. The last question.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Uniform Civil Code இந்தியா பொதுவாக வேற்றுமையில் ஒற்றுமை காணும் நாடு. இந்தியா எப்பொழுது நேரு அவர்கள் சுதந்திரம் பெற்றதோ அப்பொழுதே வேற்றுமையில் ஒற்றுமை காணும் நாடு என்றுதான் சுதந்திரம் பெற்றது. நீங்கள் யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோட் கொண்டு வருவேன் என்று சொல்வதே முதலில் வன்மையாக கண்டிக்கத்தக்கது. வன்மையாக கண்டிக்கிறேன். யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோட் கொண்டு வருவது இந்திய அரசியலமைப்புக்கு எதிராக நீங்கள் பேசிக் கொண்டிருக்கிறீர்கள். ஒரு முஸ்லிமுக்கு அவனுடைய மதத்தின் பெயரால் வாழ்வதற்கு உரிமை உண்டு. ஒரு இந்துவுக்கு அவன் மதத்தின் பெயரால் வாழ்வதற்கு உரிமை உண்டு. ஒரு சீக்கியனுக்கு அவன் மதத்தின் பெயரால் வாழ்வதற்கு உரிமை உண்டு. எல்லா மதத்திற்கும் அவருடைய மதத்தின் பெயரால் வாழ்வதற்கு உரிமை உண்டு. இப்படி இருக்கிற சூழ்நிலையில் நீங்கள் எப்படி யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோடை இந்தியாவை ஏதோ நீங்கள் மற்ற நாடுகளுக்கு பார்க்க கூடாது. இது ஏதோ சவுதி அரேபியாவோ இல்ல ஈரானோ ஈராக்கோ அப்படி இல்லை. அங்கே கூட சியா சன்னி இந்தியாவை பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மிசோரம், மேகாலயா, திரிபுரா அந்த இதில் அது ஒரு விதமான கலாச்சாரம் உள்ள மக்கள், தமிழர்கள் ஒரு விதமான கலாச்சாரம் உள்ள மக்கள், வட இந்தியாவுக்கு போன அவர்கள் ஒரு கலாச்சார மக்கள். இப்படி இந்தியாவே ஒரு புத்தகத்தில் இந்தியா ஒரு மனித அருங்காட்சியகம், இந்தியா ஒரு கலை அருங்காட்சியகம். நிச்சயமாக நடக்கவே நடக்காது. மற்றும் நீங்க யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோடை கொண்டு வரணும் என்று சொல்வது இந்துத்துவாவை வளர்ப்பதற்கு சமமானது. இப்பொழுது யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோட் இல்லாத பொழுதே நீ மாட்டுக்கறி சாப்பிடக்கூடாது என்று இல்ல ஒருத்தர் சொல்லிக்கிறாங்க மாட்டுக்கறி சாப்பிடக்கூடாது. மாட்டுக்கறி சாப்பிடக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்றதுக்கு நீங்க யார்? மாட்டுக்கறி சாப்பிடுறது என்னோட உரிமை. ஜனநாயக நாட்டு ஜனநாயக கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் இப்படி சொல்லிட்டு யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோட் கொண்டுட்டா நீ சாப்பிட்டு தான் ஆக வேண்டியது சட்டம் அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு மதம், ஒரு மொழி, ஒரு மக்கள் உள்ள நாட்டுக்கு தான் யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோட் பொருந்தும். இந்தியா பல மொழி, பல மதம், பல கலாச்சாரம், பல வித்தியாசங்கள் உள்ளது. இந்தியில் நீங்க இப்படிதான் இருக்க வேண்டும் என்று சொல்ல நிச்சயமாக சொல்ல முடியாது. எனவே யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோட் கொண்டு வருவதை நாங்கள் வன்மையாக எதிர்க்கிறோம். நீங்க அப்படி கொண்டு வந்தால் இந்தியாவில் மிகப்பெரிய சோவியத் ரஷ்யாவில் புரட்சியை எதிர்கொண்டுதான் நீங்க கொண்டு வர முடியும். அவ்வளவு சீக்கிரமாக இந்த இந்தியாவில் நீங்க யூனிஃபார்ம் சிவில் கோடை கொண்டு வர முடியாது. மற்றும் நான் ஸ்பீக்கர் அவர்களிடம் ஒரு வேண்டுகோள் வைக்கிறேன். நான் கேட்ட கேள்விக்கு அவர்கள் சரியாக பதில் சொல்லுங்கள். கோவன் தவறாக கூறியிருந்தார் மினிஸ்டர். நான் கேட்ட கேள்வி என்னவென்றால், பேரறிவாளன் சாந்தன் முருகன் அவர்களை இந்திய பிரதமர் அவர்களை கொண்டதாக தமிழகத்திலிருந்து அவர் கைது செய்யப்பட்டார்கள். அவர்களை இந்திய உச்சநீதிமன்றம் குற்றவாளி என்று சொல்கிறதா, இல்லை இந்தியாவுடைய பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் பிரதிபா பாட்டீல் அவர்கள் என்று நினைக்கிறேன் அவருடைய கருணை மனுவை நிராகரித்திருக்கிறார்கள். தமிழக அரசு முயற்சி எடுத்து தமிழக சட்டமன்றத்தில் ஒருமனதாக தீர்மானம் நிறைவேற்றி அவர்களை நாங்கள் விடுதலை செய்ய போகிறேன் என்று சொன்ன உடனே இந்த இந்திய அரசு அவர்களை விடுதலை செய்யக்கூடாது என்று திட்டமிட்டு வைத்திருக்கிறது. அவர்கள் குற்றவாளிகளா? அவர்கள் குற்றவாளிகள் என்றால் அவர்களை நீங்கள் தைரியம் இருந்தால் நீங்கள் தூக்கில் போடுங்கள். அவர் குற்றவாளி இல்லை என்றால் அவர்களை விடுதலை செய்யுங்கள். அவர்களை என்னதான் சொல்கிறது இந்த இந்திய கவர்மெண்ட் என்று இந்திய அரசிடம் சொல்லுங்கள்.
மாண்புமிகு சபாநாயகருக்கும் இருதரப்பு உறுப்பினர்களுக்கும் வணக்கம். மதங்கள்ங்கிறது மனிதர்களோட வளர்ச்சியாக தான் இருக்கும். மதங்களுக்காக மனிதர்கள் இருக்க வேண்டாம். மனிதர்களோட ஒரு மதம் ஒரு பெண்ணுடைய உரிமையை பறிக்குது அப்படின்னா அந்த இடத்துல அரசு வேடிக்கை பார்த்துட்டு இருக்க முடியாது. சரிங்களா? இப்போ ஒரு விவாகரத்துவாகி ஒரு பெண்ணுக்கான உரிமையை அந்த மதம் எதுவுமே சொல்லாத போது அங்கே அந்த பெண்ணுடைய உரிமையை காக்க வேண்டியது அரசின் தரப்போட கடமையாக இருக்குது. இப்போ இந்த இடத்துல பொது சிவில் சட்டம் இருக்கும்போது தான் அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஒட்டுமொத்தமாக இருக்கக்கூடிய எல்லா பெண்களுக்கான எல்லா உரிமையுமே மீட்டு கொடுக்க முடியும். இப்போ ஒரு மதம் அந்த மதத்தில் இருக்கிற ஒரு நபர் ஒரு 4 திருமணம் பண்ணிக்கலாம், 4 பேருடைய 4 மனைவிகளுடைய உணவுக்கான தேவை இல்லாமல் 4 பேரையும் கஷ்டப்படுத்த முடியும்னு அந்த மதம் அனுமதிக்கிறது அப்படின்னா அதை தடை செய்ய வேண்டியதோ அதை தடுத்து அவங்களுடைய 4 பேருடைய உரிமையை காப்பாற்ற வேண்டியதோ அரசோட கடமையாக இருக்கு. அப்படின்னா அந்த கணவன் சேர்த்து வச்ச சொத்தை யார் வேணாலும் பங்கு போட்டுக்கலாம், அந்த மனைவிக்கு அதில் உரிமை இல்லை அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு சட்டம் ஒரு மதம் சொல்லுது அப்படின்னா அதை வேடிக்கை பார்த்து அரசாங்கம் இருக்க முடியாது. இப்போ அதே மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா ஒரு கிறிஸ்துவ மதத்தில் எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா ஒரு விவாகம் நடந்துருச்சு, ஆனால் கணவனுக்கும் மனைவிக்குமே சேர்ந்து வாழ்றது விருப்பம் இல்லை அப்படின்னாலும் ஒரு எளிமையாக விவாகரத்து வாங்கிட முடியாது. இப்போ இந்த மாதிரி பல சிக்கல்கள் இருக்கும்போது ஒரு மதம் ஒரு வாழ்றதுக்கு உரிமையை பறிக்குது அப்படின்னா நிச்சயமா அந்த இடத்துல அரசு குறுக்கிட்டு அவங்களுடைய உரிமையை உறுதி செய்ய வேண்டிய அவசியம் இருக்கு. அதுக்காக அந்த பொது சிவில் சட்டத்தை ஞாபகப்படுத்த வேண்டிய அவசியம் இருக்கு.
Translate.
No, question is finished.
Both sides translate.
Yeah, question. Someone can translate the question. Rajkumar's question.
Okay, Rajkumar's statement was that he totally condemns uniform civil code because it's totally against the India has been a country of unity, diversity. It has been always like that. And so he totally condemns uniform civil code, and he made a statement that India is a cultural museum where you can see different kinds of people from each state, and each people have their own culture, value, language and everything. So he said that he totally condemns uniform civil code, which will never be possible in India. And the second thing he said that he gave a question in the 0R regarding Samson, Murugan and Peral. He said that what is the state of the Indian government as they have not replied anything. If they have been accused, you have to take some step probably, and the Tamil Nadu state legislature has passed a resolution to release them and trying to release them, but the central government is not replying anything. They just keeping. So he wants an answer from.
So anybody want to translate?
Yeah. Translate the answer and respond. No, wait. Translate the answer.
Okay, what my co-member has said that Indian government has to interfere in certain aspects of the Christian laws or the Muslim laws. He told examples like any law, not just Muslim Christian. He told examples of in a Muslim law, marriage law, that husband can marry 3 to 4 wives, and when he dies, his assets can be taken by anyone other than the wife. So the government has to come in that place to help the wife to get the assets, to help her solve the problem. So that's what he said.
Any caste or anything should be for the betterment of the society. Okay. The other point that he mentioned was that any provision like caste or religion should be for the betterment of humanity, but it should not curtail humanity. That is one point that he made. And the other point he made was whenever there is excess of any religion with respect to rights of women or that of rights of any individual, he says that the rights of the individual should prevail over the rights, over the principles of that particular religion if it is to the detriment of that particular individual.
Yeah, and
Ask question.
centuries together. That's the answer. Whereas on the religion, on the other hand, it's not like that. It's a negative discrimination. You can't identify a person based on their religion. Similarly, you can't. It's not fair to identify a person based on their caste. But somewhere we need to draw a line. We need to try and balance to provide empowerment to the backward classes.
I request to ruling party, Honorable Member Rajkumar to say their words.
Yes. In regards to Murugan's issue, the issue is in the Supreme Court, so we can't comment on any issues which is with the judiciary. It's not part of the parliament.
Last question.
அது இந்திய பாராளுமன்றத்திற்கு அதுக்கும் அதுக்கும் சம்பந்தங்கள் என்று சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏனென்றால் மாண்புமிகு தமிழக முதலமைச்சர் அம்மா அவர்கள் விடுதலை செய்து
Case is pending in Supreme Court.
தமிழக சட்டமன்றம் அவர்களை விடுதலை செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று தீர்மானம் நிறைவேற்றி இந்திய அரசுக்கு பரிந்துரை செய்கிறது. மாண்புமிகு பிரதமர் அவர்கள் கூறுவதை போல் பாராளுமன்றத்தில் எதுவும் சம்மந்தங்கள் இருக்க முடியாது. உடனே இந்திய பாராளுமன்றம் ஒரு முடிவெடுத்து அவர்கள் ஆளுநர் ஒரு முடிவெடுத்து உச்சநீதிமன்றத்திற்கு மேல்முறையீடு செல்கிறார்கள். மேல்முறையீடு சென்று அந்த விடுதலையை தற்சமயம் ஒத்திவைக்க வேண்டும் என்று உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தை அப்பீல் செய்து வெற்றி பெறுகிறார்கள். எப்படி பாராளுமன்றத்துக்கும் அந்த தீர்ப்புக்கும் சம்பந்தங்கள் என்று சொல்லுபவர்கள் எப்படி ஒரு மணி நாள் ஒரு பாராளுமன்ற தீர்மானம் என்று உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தை அப்பீல் பண்ணார்கள் என்று அவர் விளக்கினார்.
You can translate.
Okay, now I am going to
Translation, Mr. Speaker.
What is it?
I need to know its comments.
Please you.
Rajkumar mentioned about the Santan Murugan case. He said Honorable Prime Minister mentioned that it is not in the essential of it is not in the it is not something which the Parliament can do. But Rajkumar has replied saying that a resolution was passed in Parliament and the government has gone to the Supreme Court delaying this release order. So how can they say that it is not in something the government or
Okay, and I would like Honorable Speaker. I am not denying to answer this question. I am willing to have a separate session for this. But this is not the right time. Next year.
And I respond to the first question of the Rajkumar. Uniform Civil Code is not unconstitutional. It is specifically mentioned in Directive Principles of State Policy, Article 42.
Read the Constitution.
Read the Constitution. Say.
No. Now we're going to next stage. You want to accept the...
No.
What? You want to go next stage?
Yeah.
You want to accept?
Okay, session is adjourned.
The opposition leaders.
Now I am announced the best parliamentarian. The best parliamentarian. Whenever we select the best parliamentarian, we observe it's a respect. The simple code of use. We follow the simple code of honorable speaker, honorable member, honorable prime minister, honorable opposition leader. Now today's session, honorable opposition leader is selected first, but unfortunately he is not selected because one answer is sit and answer. Okay. Finally, Bob will select it. He asked more questions. We want to translate. This is single one only. It's okay. Finally, we announce the Rajkumar. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Member, please come on stage. Second, best parliamentarian. Someone is here. Gaudi. Please go. Yes, go.
Cost 40 rupees. The government should explain. Due to inflation and trade. Okay, and thank you for this opportunity to come and share my reflections with you. And this particular subject is very complex, even for the government at the center, or any government in the country, or the opposition and the social groups, be it the social, religious and community groups, to address this subject. This is one issue that has been there for the last, say, virtually 65 years of independence. Not that this is not intractable or something that cannot be solved or cannot be addressed, but it's very complex in a sense because of the sensitivity attached to addressing issues with a greater depth and then my belief about this Uniform Civil Code is that if we make a beginning, we are just waiting for a breakthrough. Once we have a breakthrough, the change will happen. It is just that some kind, it's not about reluctance, it is about the confidence and trust building that is needed for addressing this issue in the Parliament. And one very good experience is about in the Constituent Assembly of that drafted the Constitution of India, and the members who representing the constituencies in India are by nature, quality are different people. That's first thing you have to understand about what is the problem in many issues in that we face today about is that the people who represented in the Constituent Assembly is that they represented the consciousness of the people and the communities and the nationalities that they represented. So they were able to talk about those issues with a lot of sensitivity and commitment, and they have to go back to that constituency of people. But in the present legislatures, what happened? None of them go back to the people after the election. So their policies are not community oriented, not social oriented, basically like governance oriented, like how to administer a city, how to administer a town, how to administer a state. So that's the biggest thing. Somewhere we lost the consciousness of the community and society. Unless you have that, you can't address this uniform civil code. That's the first challenge. Another thing is that for people like us in the universities and colleges and then civil societies is that, and first we must read what the Hindu law says about, and like what is the consensus within the Hindu social order, what are the contradictions in it within that status explained. Then in terms of the other social, community, religious identities and laws as Christianity, and then the Islamic laws, and so then if we go by step, in fact, like when Georgie asked the question about the caste, I thought like I was convinced the session is going to be adjourned, and that was not a filibuster. That was not a filibuster. What happened is that filibustering happens in a different way. When he asked the question, is that like it kind of like completely